The bill has arrived for tariff rebate checks, stimulus refund checks, whatever you want to call them. It is here. Now, we just heard in about the past 48 hours, Donald Trump say that they would like to send out a little tariff rebate check to help Americans because of all the surplus funds that are pouring in as a result of tariffs. And now we're seeing the bill has already arrived. Let's go ahead and take a look at this here. Now, this is the actual bill, and you can see that the name for this, they're calling it the American Workers Rebate Act of 2025. Now, this is the actual bill that has come out, and take a look at the headlines with me. Josh Hawley's bill would give millions of Americans $600 each from tariff revenue. Now, we're going to dive into the details of this. I'm also going to play for you the video footage, show you the articles so you can see it for yourself. Senate introduces a bill for tariff rebate checks after Trump's suggestion. You can see this coming out today, July 29th. 2025. And also take a look, Josh Hawley's actual website, U.S. Senator for Missouri. Hawley introduces legislation to send rebate checks to working Americans. This released yesterday, July 28th, 2025. So I'm going to dive into all the details for you, get you the latest information. Now, if you're glad to hear that there are potentially tariff rebate checks that could be coming out here, put yes in the comments. If you're not glad, put no. I'm going to be playing for you some video footage, some commentary on this, as some people are saying, no, if it's only a $600 check, just put it all towards taking down the debt. So let me know your thoughts. Are you for the checks? Yes. If not, put no. Let me know your thoughts. Now, what if it was a $2,000 check? Would that change your mind? Well, what we're hearing is that's $600 per person. So in other words, a family of four would get a check for $2,400. Does that change your mind? Would you be happy to get a $2,400 check? Or if you got a household of 10, that would be $6,000. Now, I'm going to get into all the details of these checks so you can get the latest information, but we're hearing that this is happening right now. The information was released yesterday. Headlines coming out today, July 29th, 2025. I'm going to get you caught up on the latest information so you know exactly what's going on. Now, if you appreciate that and the fact that I'm also going to cite the sources, they're hyperlinked in the description. I'm going to put it on the screen, read right from it, play for you the latest video footage in the last 24 hours. Take a second, hit that like button for me. Helps out supporting the channel a ton. That little gesture helps out a lot. Thank you so much. Also, to stay up to date, it's totally free. Why not go ahead and hit that subscribe button? I'll keep you up to speed on everything going on. Turn on that notification bell. And like I said, everything is going to be cited, sourced in the description. Now, also wanted to mention, if you or somebody you love is on Medicare, this is very important. Now, on May 1st, the Department of Justice filed a massive fraud complaint against 3 of the largest Medicare brokers in the country. So I wanted to let you know about my friends over at Chapter. Now, they're a company that is different than all the other ones. We're hearing that those 3 major ones were not giving people the right plans for them, just the ones that gave them the biggest kickbacks. Chapter is different. This is a company that was founded by people whose parents were scammed, just like we're hearing about, ripped off by the system. So if you feel like you're being scammed, trust your gut. You probably are. There might be something better for you. Now, Chapter is fully independent. They're advisors that are going to help find the best plan that actually fits your needs. They advocate for you, not the insurance companies. There's no steering, no pressure, just ethical, honest help for you. And they've actually helped one of my viewers here on the channel save over $1,600. On average, they save people here on my channel $1,100. They've already helped hundreds of people. And here's the best part, it's totally free. You'll speak to a real person when you call them at the number on the screen, 984-375-0879. They will help you go through what is the best potential plan for you. And once you get that information, they'll either tell you, hey, you got the best plan, you're good. We can't help you with anything else, you're set. Or they could potentially tell you, we could save you $1,100, $1,600. So thank you to Chapter making that available. If you or somebody you know is on Medicare and you're wondering, do I've got the best plan? It's totally free. Why not give them a call? So thank you for making that available to us, Chapter. Appreciate you guys. But let's go ahead and take a look at the details as to what's coming out so you can see regarding these checks that has been coming out. And again, I see we've got 1,400 people with me live. If we could get half of the room to hit the like button, that would be 700. If you haven't done so yet, and we have not hit that 700 mark, please take a second, hit that like button. But let's take a look at this article so you can get the details, and we're going to be looking at some video footage here. So you can see this coming out today, July 29th. Josh Hawley's bill would give millions of Americans $600 each from the tariff revenue. And again, that's per person, not per household. Freedom, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. I appreciate that. It says, what's the tariff rebate checks for? The working class? What about Trump fixing Social Security? Haven't done nothing for your so-called big, beautiful plan. Freedom, I appreciate the $10 super chat. I'm going to keep you up to date on all of it as the information comes out. Now, let's take a look at this, though, so I can get you the latest on these tariff rebate checks. This bill has officially been introduced. Senator Josh Hawley rolled out a new bill late Monday yesterday to give $600 in tariff rebates to millions of American workers and families days after President Donald Trump floated the idea. Americans deserve a tax rebate after 4 years of Biden policies that have devastated families, savings, and livelihoods, Hawley said in a statement. Like President Trump proposed, my legislation would allow hardworking Americans to benefit from the wealth that Trump's tariffs are returning to this country. Now, the Republicans' American Workers Rebate Act, the one I just put on the screen for you, the official bill, would provide at least $600 to each adult and dependent child, with higher payments possible if tariff revenue exceeds projections for the year. So potentially could even be more than $600. Let me know. Do you like the sound of that? Married couples who file taxes jointly and make more than $150,000 a year per combined heads of household who make more than $112,500 per year, and individuals earning more than $75,000 per year will see their rebates reduced by 5%. Tariff revenue has topped $113 billion so far in the fiscal year of 2025, and the U.S. posted a budget surplus for June as tariff revenue soared to $27 billion. Both Trump himself and the administration officials, like Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick, have claimed tariff revenue can be used to quickly pay down the federal deficit, which clocked in at $1.8 trillion last fiscal year. However, the president suggested to reporters as he left the White House for Scotland Friday that his team was thinking about a little rebate, and now we've seen the legislation introduced. Now, the big thing that we want to do is pay down the debt, Trump said at the time, but we're thinking about a rebate. Now, Hawley's bill would dish out money under similar parameters to COVID-19's relief the Congress passed beginning in 2020. So this is very reminiscent, very similar of a stimulus check. And they're saying they actually drafted this up similar to what we saw with that second stimulus check of $600. $600 per person. The first payment of $1,200 to individuals making up to $75,000 and $2,400 to couples making up to $150,000 were issued in March of 2020. A second round of payments of $600 to individuals and $1,200 for couples under those thresholds was doled out in December of 2020. A third and final payment of up to $1,400 to individuals, $2,800 to couples was approved as a part of the Biden-era American Rescue Plan in March of 2021. Now, most conservatives, they have insisted that the administration's focus on reducing the deficit and have warned about the inflationary effects of handing out more spending money while trying to keep prices down. And again, let me know your thoughts. Do you think that these checks should go out? And keep in mind, this is not just $600 for a household. This is $600 per person. If you think yes, which means a family of four would get $2,400, put yes in the comments. If you think no, put no. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Now, while it's always politically advantageous to hand out money to constituents, the fact is the federal government has no money to give at this point, said Heritage Foundation chief economist E.J. Antoni told the Post Friday in a response to Trump's initial rebate suggestion. When the annual deficit is over $1 trillion, the priority has to be getting that down, not giving the Treasury another outlay, he said. But again, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Are you for this? Yes or no? And keep in mind, we're hearing the number of 600, but they're saying depending on the surplus amount, depending on how much they can bring in from those tariffs, it could be more, and it's per person. So if you've got a household of four, they're saying that's $2,400 $400. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at what it was Trump had to say 2 days ago. Then we're going to dive into the details of what was actually released by Hawley and also some commentary kind of sharing both sides of how they feel right now. Let's go ahead and take a look at this.
With all of that revenue coming in, Mr. President,
a lot of money.
A lot of money.
Our country was a dead country. It was a dead country 1 year ago. Now we have the hottest country anywhere in the world. And don't you feel it?
Mr. President, with all of that revenue coming in tens and tens of billions of dollars, do you think there's the possibility of a rebate to the American public in terms of all of that money?
We're thinking about that, actually. We have so much money coming in. We're thinking about a little rebate, but the big thing we want to do is pay down debt. But we're thinking about a rebate. That's a very good question. You just made a lot of news. We're thinking about a rebate because we have so much money coming in from tariff that a little rebate for people of a certain income level might be very nice.
There you have it, you guys. A little rebate check, tariff rebate check for people making a certain amount of income. It might be a little nice. Let me know your thoughts. Now, as I mentioned, in the last 24 hours, we have seen this bill officially presented in Congress. So it's not just talk now. We've got a bill ready to roll. Take a look so you can see it for yourself.
An influential Republican senator and ally of the president appears to be acknowledging that Trump's tariffs may raise prices. Missouri Republican Josh Hawley now proposing to use tariff money to send rebates to the American people. Hawley is proposing $600 checks to all Americans and their children. He says the idea is for citizens to benefit from the tariffs being collected on foreign goods. But not everyone will get the full perk under Hawley's plan. Households earning more than $150,000 a year and individuals who make more than $75,000 a year would have their payments reduced. The bill would boost payments if tariff revenue surpasses projections. The legislation would be modeled after direct payments that went to Americans in 2020 during the COVID-19 pandemic. Back then, Hawley teamed up with Vermont Independent Senator Bernie Sanders to advocate for a second round of payments. President Trump has said he is open to Hawley's bill, but if passed, it would undercut statements from the Trump administration assuring that tariff revenue would be used to pay down the national debt. And some economists worry sending checks to Americans could lead to more inflation.
There you have it, you guys. And again, let me know your thoughts. Are you for this, yes or no? Or are you concerned about the effects of inflation? Now, let's go ahead and take a look at what it was that was actually released by Senator Josh Hawley. We're going to take a look at his website right now. And as I mentioned, this also has a link directly to the bill if you'd like to see it. Now, I'll pull it up for you. We won't go through the details of the actual bill. We won't get into all the legal talk of this bill, but you can see here it is called the American Worker Rebate Act of 2025. And it gets into all of the earnings, income, the threshold, the amounts. $600 will be the amount per person, including dependents. And all the legislation is here. If you want to go through it, there is a hyperlink on this site. Let's take a look at this. That's going to break it down for us. Now, it says Hawley has introduced legislation to send rebate checks to working Americans. This is a press release that his office had come out yesterday, Monday, July 28th, 2025. Today, U.S. Senator Josh Hawley introduced the American Worker Rebate Act legislation that would send rebate checks to working Americans following the historic revenue accrued through President Trump's tariff policy. Americans deserve a rebate check after 4 years of Biden policies that have devastated families, savings, and livelihoods. Like President Trump's proposed, my legislation would allow hardworking Americans to benefit from the wealth that Trump's tariffs are returning to this country, Senator Hawley said. Senator Hawley announced this legislation last week after President Trump voiced support for this policy when he discussed record-breaking tariff revenue. The United States now has record monthly tariff revenue, which nearly reached $30 billion in June. Several projections suggest that the United States could see over $150 billion in tariff revenue in 2025 alone. The American Worker Rebate Act would provide a tariff rebate check this year to American workers and families with similar parameters to the direct payments passed by Congress back in 2020. It would also ensure the amount of the rebate is at least $600 per adult and dependent child. In other words, $2,400 for a family of 4. And it would also allow for a larger credit per person if tariff revenue exceeds the current projections in 2025. In other words, $600 is not the cap. It is just the beginning. Let me know your thoughts. Now that you've heard this, are you on board for these rebate checks? If so, put yes in the comments. If no, put no. Also, let me know, how much do you think it should be? Are you happy with that number, 600? They're saying it could be more. That would mean a family of 4 would get $2,400. Do you think it should be $1,000 per person, $1,200 per person? Let me know your thoughts. I think that third pandemic stimulus check was $1,400, if I remember correctly. This one would be $600 per person in a household. So if you got a household of 10, that's $6,000. Now, do you think that they should go ahead and give that money back to the American people? Like I said, if you think so, put yes. If you think no, put no. There's a lot of people that are opposed to it because they're saying the top priority, as Trump said, should be the debt, the deficit. Let's bring it down. Let me know your thoughts. But let's take a look at some commentary on this so that way you can see it for yourself. And this coming out in the past 24 hours in response to these rebate check proposals and now the bill being released.
We have so much money coming in, we're thinking about a little rebate, but the big thing we want to do is pay down debt. We're thinking about a rebate because we have so much money coming in from tariff that's a little rebate for people of a certain income level might be very nice.
You heard of the Doge dividend. Well, how about a tariff tip? President Trump says America's tariff revenue windfall could show up directly in Americans' bank accounts. He is leaving the door open for rebate checks after customs revenue hit record highs in June. I think we've pulled in $100 billion so far this year.
That's right, yeah.
300 is projected by the end of the year. But critics say America needs to put all this money towards its massive debt pile, still sitting around $36 trillion. And for me, I'm a little bit mixed on this one. I think we've given out enough stimulus and, you know, the money's been taken from people already, so to credit it back, and he said for certain people of a certain income level, I think that's questionable because people of other income levels have paid into this too. The Doge dividend is coming out to roughly $1,200 a person with respect to what they've been able to bring in. They're doing the baby savings bonds, or accounts, which I understand because the birth rate is dropping. It's like, how much of this can you do? We've got a debt problem. Instead of whipping Jerome Powell and saying you got to take 300 basis points off the Fed funds rate, let's pay down some of our debt with this extra savings.
I can't tell, are you a fan of Powell or not?
No, I don't like him, but I mean, I'm just saying.
Just observing the facts of what's happening right now. Well, it says above my head, it says tariff surplus. And but we don't really, we're getting tariff revenue, but we definitely don't have a surplus.
No, I know.
If we've got a surplus, I am all for getting money back to Americans. I'm all for cutting taxes, even when we have a deficit, and then holding the government accountable to cut their spending. But we don't have a surplus. Whatever tariff revenue we're getting is not, it's not even coming close to covering the interest we pay on our debt. So, but I do, having said that, one thing about the president I do get on this is he wants people to understand that the things he's doing do have real world positive consequences for them. Now, you can argue about tariffs if you want to. So that's why he wants to do this stuff. And in politics and in life, there is something about tangibly helping people see that they're getting a benefit from a policy so that they support it and don't go to the other side, which we've got plenty of, which is promising free rent, free groceries, free buses, all this stuff. He's playing I think, a smart political game, even if I'm disagreeing with the fact that we should have a rebate.
It's consistent with his strategy, too, because think about, he's arguing we can outgrow our debt problem, right? How do you help that along this way? Show Americans tangibly, look, this came back in. And guess where that money's going to go? We saw it during COVID. It's going to go into the economy in different ways.
Well, that's what I wanted to ask you about, because some projections show the deficit's going to balloon by $3.4 trillion over the next 10 years. Some estimates are lower than that when you factor in the growth that will come as a result of the Trump economy and the engine all working together. But having said that, there was a lot in the bill that many people didn't support. There was spending in the bill that was difficult to pull the reins back in on because, once it's out there, it's out there. And so should we be using the tariff revenue or the Doge savings to then cut some of those numbers down.
Yeah, so those CBO estimates are wildly inaccurate, right? If there's a new one out from Torsten Slok saying that if you factor in AI, it's actually going to be less of a deficit spending. So AI is deflationary. But here's my thing. Every mainstream American knows every single politician has wasted money sometime in their career without your permission. Is $1,200 really going to make a difference? Every American getting that qualifies really going to make a difference on our
I guess that's
deficit,
what I'm also
right? So
questioning.
I think this is more marketing and fulfilling just your promises of, hey, I'm going to do these things. And to Brian's point, I'm going to show you tangible proof that I did them and they had a positive outcome. And then let's move forward. Because this single check is not going to change Washington's penchant for runaway spending.
Call me crazy, but wouldn't that be inflationary between the tax cuts, basically another stimulus kind of check, and the baby savings accounts, all this money that's going out and consumption out there? That says to me, uh-oh.
Anytime you give people more money, they're going to spend it, and if they spend it, in theory, that's inflationary. Yes, I agree. The problem is, I'm not sure that people can tangibly appreciate, understand, grasp, whatever the right expression is, that yes, we've taken this money from these other countries or companies in other countries, and we're using it to pay down the debt. Really? I mean, the debt is up here.
I know.
And what we're collecting is
But you have
down
to
here.
start somewhere.
I mean, so, what have you really accomplished? Not much. And you might actually get more mileage out of handing people a check than trying to explain the economics of, well, we did pay down a little bit of the
We
debt.
held off on the Italian beehives on top
What do
of
you
the
think,
federal.
Lydia?
You might be right, and you all are probably right, but there is part of me that says, whatever happened about teaching young folks about delayed gratification and responsibility, and is this a missed opportunity to illustrate, we did these tariffs and we're collecting money, now we're going to do the responsible thing by paying down this massive $36 trillion debt. I look at that and I worry about my kids. And this is an opportunity to start really living by the practice what we preach. We're going to do the responsible thing. We're going to pay down the debt. Yeah, it's the hard thing to do, but in the long term, we're going to do it again and again and again until we get this country back on the right course. Am I being a little naive here?
No, I
Can
like
you
that.
save on your Starbucks latte to make yourself a millionaire? Probably not. There's other things we can do.
Right, but
to cut
people
deficit.
don't do it. But you could take that money and invest it.
Wow, there you have it, you guys. Let me know your thoughts. Who do you agree with? There was some different opinions there. One person saying, what about delayed gratification, and saying, hey, we're going to do the responsible thing and pay down the debt. Where do you think that the money from the tariffs should go? Should it go towards the debt, or should it go towards putting money back into the pockets of the American people? Let me know your thoughts. If you think a check, put check, or put a money sign. If you think it should go towards the debt, put debt. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. But I saw a lot of people saying, wow, they were shocked because the $600 is not just $600 to just the house. It's per person. So if you got a household of 4, that's a $2,400 check. So let me know your thoughts. And like I said, the legislation on this just coming out in the last 24 hours, Senator Josh Hawley introducing this. So it is official in Congress. You can see here, it is called the American Workers Rebate Act of 2025, and this would put at least $600 per person back into your pockets. It is coming out all over the news. You can see Josh Hawley's bill would give millions of Americans $600 each from tariff revenue. The Senate has introduced a bill for tariff rebate checks after Trump suggested this. You can see this coming out today, just this morning. And here it is. We covered the details for you as Senator Josh Hawley has introduced the legislation to send rebate checks to working Americans. So there you have it. Let me know your thoughts. And they're saying this is very similar, very reminiscent of what we had seen before with that second stimulus check. They're saying this is basically the exact same layout as we had seen for the second stimulus check of $600. Freedom, thank you for the $10 super chat. Says retired people on Social Security should get the same amount as working people. It's only fair and right, Steve. Thank you for that $10 super chat, Freedom. And I agree, we cannot forget about those on Social Security. And if you agree with Freedom, do me a favor, hit that like button. Help spread this out further. I see we got about 2,200 people on with me right now with the news coming out about the bill that has been released for this. If we get half of the room to hit the like button, that would be over 1,000 likes while we're live. That helps out the channel a ton. So if you haven't done so yet, and you see we haven't hit 1,000, please hit that like button for me. Now, we're going to be seeing where we go from here. We have seen legislation has been officially introduced in Congress. Again, here is the actual bill that was released by Senator Hawley. And this is going to be connected to a hyperlink I have for his press release. You can go through the actual bill, see all the details if you'd like. It looks like this bill is 14 pages long. And also, I have hyperlinks to all of these articles I'm referencing. I cite all the sources, put it on the screen, read right from it. If more comes out on this, they're saying this would be released right now in 2025, these tariff rebate checks. So we will see, though, because right now they're reporting that it would happen this year. This would be a 2025 check that would go to you for at least $600 per person. There are certain income thresholds that we covered, but they're saying that this would go out, and it could potentially be more contingent upon the amount of funds that are brought in from those tariffs. And let me know, are you for this? Yes or no? Let me know your thoughts. But like I said, as more comes out on this, I'll be sure to keep you up to date here on the channel. A lot of people were asking, what happened with the Doge dividend refund checks? Didn't see that get put into that big, beautiful bill. Haven't heard much from it. Well, now they're saying instead of a Doge dividend, there might be a tariff tip, they said. So we will see. Carol Robertson, thank you for that $2 super chat. I appreciate that a ton. But regardless of what unfolds, whether we do have this tariff rebate check, Trump checks, tariff tips, whatever the case is, money into the pockets of the American people, essentially another stimulus check, I will keep you up to date. I'll let you know exactly what unfolds here on the channel. Whether we have it or not, I will let you know. Freedom, thank you for another super chat. Thank you for your generosity. So the debt will never be paid off. What a laugh. The debt will never be paid off. What a laughter, he said. Laugher. Yeah, we will see. I will keep you up to date here on the channel. But that is the latest, you guys. Again, thank you so much for joining me. Appreciate it. I will keep you up to speed as more comes out. Hit that like button if you haven't done so yet. Subscribe to stay up to date. And I'll keep you up to speed on everything. And I'll catch you in the next one. Take care. God bless.